There we are. Okay, let's got a couple of people starting to trickle in here. Thanks for coming by. I'm gonna mention this a couple of times during this beginner guitar struggle Q&A. I'm also gonna put out a couple of posts in the community tab asking when on a Sunday y'all would like to have a beginner Q&A, whether it be the afternoon, early evening. I can't do a late night Q&A. I turn into a pumpkin at 9 o'clock and have to go to bed. So I'm like Jamie Lee Curtis talking about rock concerts. Can we have a matinee? But anyway, today this will of course be turned into a distributed video on the channel. Beginner guitar struggles, and I've heard that most of my life as an instructor. As I've told y'all before, I even taught my high school football buddies back in high school. Let me lower that a little bit. Okay. There's a lot of common things that I see people struggle with. And, a beginner struggles with forming chords. They struggle sometimes at the very beginning with understanding a music staff line or a tab line. And we didn't have tab back when I learned to play back in the 70s, but we did have a musical staff notebook. And, one of the first things we were taught were the lines. Every good boy does fine. And in between the lines, you can tell by their smiling face. And so we got a tiny bit of theory. And there's several things that I think that it's good for beginner guitarists to learn in a structured manner, that sometimes this wonderful information we have on YouTube can put a beginner guitarist into information overload, and they'll start down a rabbit hole, especially if they don't have a guided instructor. Now, instructors are they're instructors are like teachers. Many people had a favorite teacher back in grammar school, and many had somebody they thought was a raving tyrant. And so, a lot of times it can depend on if you got an instructor, whether or not you're staying focused, whether or not your instructor is addressing your questions you may have from things you've seen on YouTube, or trying to discourage you altogether. I often think very unrealistically, from looking at YouTube stuff. Everybody has an opinion, and your opinion's valuable because it's your opinion. That makes it valuable right off the bat. My opinion has changed over many things throughout the 63 years of my life. If I was spending $50 to $100 for a one-on-one guitar instruction, and I asked my instructor a question about something on YouTube and they blew me off, it'd be different if I was not participating in the lesson and spending all the time we should be learning how to make a chord, how to do this, how to do that. Asking internet questions, well, then as an instructor, I would get irritated, even though you're getting paid money. But if I was paying that kind of money to an instructor and they disrespectfully blew me off, well, in the first place, at 63 years of age and and Air Force, Special Forces, marriage, 3 sons, grandkids, and such. If one of them blew me off while I was paying, that would be the very. In fact, I'd get up right then and go, "You and I are done," and I wouldn't even give him an answer. I'd leave. This is your money you're spending to learn guitar. You may not have that money. You may have to be looking at YouTube and trying to come up with something free to learn guitar. But make no mistake about it. And everybody wants that shortcut. Everybody wants that magic chord. Everybody wants and there's lots of secrets that will help you. I try to engage in my channel in helping beginners get through frustrating parts. I do. I've got well over 100 videos that I've done in just not even 2 months' time, because this is my ministry, trying to give back. I carried out here where I live in the Birmingham, Alabama metropolitan area with some other friends of mine that I played guitar in high school with, and we try to help students. We just recently gave away a brand new Fender alternative dreadnought guitar to someone that wanted to learn, that was retired and just didn't know how to go forward. So, we're trying to get this out there, but this is your journey. What I find is many people get lost and they go down a rabbit hole through YouTube. And part of that problem, when you have a one-on-one instructor, you can ask a question. You're not sitting like right now. And, and by the way, I think I've got this where y'all can ask. I'm looking over here at the chat box. If you got a question, ask it. I think I set it up where you have to be a subscriber for 5 minutes to be able to ask. So that means you can subscribe and 5 minutes later you can ask a question. And the reason we do that is to keep trolls out. They're a fact of life. I'll quickly let you know I have a very heavy computer social media background in my life. I am no secret to the internet, even before the World Wide Web. So I do everything I can to stop negativity. I don't have a problem with questions. So that's the reason we have this subscriber 5 minutes to ask a question. You can subscribe, wait 5 minutes, ask your question, then go unsubscribe. I mean, the idea is, and if you ask a nasty question, I'm not going to engage you. I'm too old to engage people. I did that back in combat. I'll just ignore you. So, I want you to have a positive experience when you come in here. So we're going to talk today about some of the common things that I've seen as an instructor for 52 years. Sore fingers, information overload. You don't know when to practice. There's no one to play with. You're struggling with your guitar and you don't know what to do. It doesn't play right. It doesn't feel right. It's hard to make a chord. Or that doggone F chord that I've got several videos on, and I'll entertain that today too if somebody wants to. So those are some of the frustrating things, but that's the kind of little resources that I try to give people. I have several videos as I break everything and knock things down. I don't know what that was. Probably my glasses, but anyway, I'll catch it later. So I'm going to show you on here real quickly. Bear with me 1 second. Okay. This isn't high tech. I'm still watching how to do all this neat stuff. Let's see. Channel. Okay, here is this is just there you go. That's my channel. But on my channel, I have over here under community. And that's where, yeah, I know this reflection is bad, but that's where I list several YouTube resources every day of things that I think will help y'all. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. Why would I? I started out this channel doing guitar worthy sites that I didn't need to learn how to play guitar. I've been playing guitar for 52 years. I've been teaching guitar for 52 years. Am I an expert? No, I learned something new every day. So, in that essence, as long as we're learning, we're all experts. But this is what I do. I try to help y'all find resources that will help you. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. I will have basic videos about scales and how to get the most out of scales. You know, I had a person that asked me, why do y'all teach, the musical alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then repeat A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then you make us learn A sharp, B to C, because there is no sharp or flat between B to C and E to F, okay? And then C sharp, D sharp, E. There is no E sharp. There's E to F, and then F sharp, G sharp, back to A. Why do you make us learn that? What good is that going to do? Well, and then we try to tell you to learn the top 6 string, E. We tell you elephants and donkeys grow big ears. EADGBE. Eddie ain't dynamite. Goodbye, Eddie. There's all kind of acronyms that can help you. But here's just one of many, many, many reasons why we always try to teach a beginner guitarist that, guitar instruction didn't get invented with Jimmy Page. It didn't get invented with Stevie Ray Vaughan. Didn't get invented with Elvis Presley, with Mel Bay. It didn't get, guitar instruction has been going on for centuries. There is a method to it. We're fortunate to have YouTube and the internet. I didn't have that. It's a valuable resource that if you're not careful, you will go down a rabbit hole, and then it becomes very frustrating. It can actually make people turn away. We don't want to see that happen. So anyway, back to why do we learn that? Well, if you learn those notes, E, F, G, A, B, C, and go down on the low, we call it low, and this is confusing to people. This string up here, the top string, the one going to the ceiling, is called the low E string. Well, it's low because of the sound. This E down here near the floor is called the high E string. Now, a lot of people would think, well, God, that's bass backwards. It's the pitch. And this is where a lot of people get into problems with their beginner guitar is terminology. Somebody didn't take the time to show them something. Okay, well, back to what I said. If you learn this E, F, G, A, okay, let's say you're a little further advanced. All right, so the A minor pentatonic scale, and it starts up here on the 5th fret. Let me move this out of the way and you can see the A. There's that A note. Okay, well, if you knew this E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, and on down, if you knew that, then you could take the same form with the A minor pentatonic, and you could come from this A right here, and you could go A sharp, B, C, and you could use that same shape that you learned with the pentatonic scale, 5 notes. We carry it on out to a 12-note harmonic. You're going, oh, what are you talking about? But if you learn this E, F, G, A, B, and the musical alphabet, A, B, C, D, also if you learn that, you know that all you got to do is move to, hey, E, open, F. You start that same shape on F, you're doing the F minor pentatonic. Move down to G, you're doing the G minor pentatonic. You would know every minor pentatonic from the 6th string up and down. Then to take that a step further, if you learn the notes on the board. That's the reason I put these note markers, and I have videos on how to do it. I have fret light guitars that will light up the notes. If you learn those notes, you will find that if you're doing a C major scale, there are C's all up and down the guitar. And when you do that shape, which, by the way, that shape is a music theory pattern involving whole steps, half steps, or semitones. They use the word semitone in Europe. If you'd have used those shapes, you would have taken your guitar learning further. Do you need to do that? It's up to you. You may want to learn 3 chords and play songs. You can, we start with chords. To me, it's a shame that in guitar instruction, they don't explain to you why you're starting with a chord. They don't explain to you how many notes it takes to make a chord. They don't explain to you what a power chord is, a 5th chord, the root note and the 5th note of that scale. They don't explain these things to you. And a lot of people say, well, you're not ready. Well, okay, you're not ready yet, but you could at least be told there's more to learn. Do you have to know music theory? No, you don't. Some people want to learn how to play a few chords. I'm going to try to help you with that as you visit my channel. You may be struggling with chords. We have, I just did some recent videos about anchoring chords that, a lot of people want to teach you that you've got to make a chord. Here's a C chord shape, and then you got to lift it up and throw it back down. But we try to teach you that's not always the case. Depends on what chord you're going to. You're going to make an E minor shape. You're going to make it with the 1 and 2 finger. You're going to make it with the 2 and 3 fingers. Depends on what's the next chord you're going to. So everything's not cast in stone in guitar. You have to start somewhere. Well, we start in guitar with learning chords. Actually, that's not true. You do start learning a few notes because you're going to learn a C chord, a G. But we start out with chords, and then from those chords, after we've learned some open chords, then we learn the positions in the guitar. Most of your open chords are always played in the first 3 fret 1, fret 2, fret 3, fret 4, and they involve open strings. And I can go even deeper than that. You have to expose yourself to the terminology to learn. But do try to know what you want. And maybe you don't know what you want. Maybe you just want to jump in and start playing. But I strongly suggest, if you're frustrated right off the beginning, go to a guitar store. Go to Amazon, go to one of these online dealers, and buy a Hal Leonard beginner guitar book for kids. And don't be ashamed. I mean, they're going to, you'll learn the very first chord that I teach. A lot of people say, no, it should be E minor. It should be this. First chord I teach is a C chord. Now, if you look right here, you see that's a C note. And all I do is get them to put their first finger, first fret, 2nd string, and I teach them to strum. And there's your 3 notes to make a chord. And people are like, why do you do that? Why don't you make a regular C chord shape? Because I want them to learn rhythm. Once they learn 1 chord, then we can do 1, 2, 3, 4, strum, 2, 3, 4, strum, 2, 3, 4. Then we can change it up a little bit. Strum, 2, strum, 4, strum, 2, strum, 4. We can learn 4/4 time. We can find out, what does that mean? What is 4/4 time? There is a method to the madness. Now, like I said, if you got a question, ask, but I'm just going to go through some of this. Sore fingers. You're going to get sore fingers. They will go away with practice. I have videos on things you can do, from nylon strings to the type of guitar you play to the amount of time you spend. A beginner guitarist practicing chords 15 to 20 minutes a day is enough. Sometimes you only need it every other day, because you're going to develop. I don't know how well this you can see. I mean, I play every day. I mean, you can poke pinholes in my fingers. I don't even feel it anymore. There are some people that have played so long they don't even get calluses anymore. Their skin has just, skin constantly dies off and is regrown. But there are people that get to a point where they played so long and they played for so long, they're actually performing artists that they don't even get calluses anymore. They just don't feel it. I mean, they feel, but they don't feel the pain. But if you only pick up your guitar for 15 minutes once a week on the weekend, then it's going to take you a long time to develop calluses, if you develop at all. So, the more you play within reason, the more you can do about the sore fingers. But the sore fingers are a badge of courage. If you want to go buy an air guitar, I mean, I guess you can do that, or I mean, there are some things you can do. So, but I have videos on sore fingers. Go through my playlist, get on the channel that I showed you, and click on videos, and there's a search button. Search on sore fingers. I have a entire video on what I did for my wife when she got back to learning last year, and me teaching her again. And I taught her back when we got married 40 years ago, but life got in the way. So, sore fingers, information overload. Well, what's the biggest thing you can do about information overload? It depends on where you are in your journey. If you already know your basic chords, then maybe it's time to step up the game a little bit. Maybe it's time to focus and ask yourself, what do I want out of guitar? That is something that will change through your guitar journey. You are not going to become Jimmy Page overnight. You're just not. It does take practice, but it's a rewarding practice, because if you take advantage of a structured learning system, and I hope that I try to do the little enhancements to make you enjoy something as simple and beautiful as a chord. I've got some videos where we talk about how to take a D chord and lift up fingers and make different notes and sounds, and how to make a chord progression from one chord to the next, and how to even turn that into a song. Think about how much further you are from the last time you there. I know the sore fingers hurt. I know you want to dive into, some raging lead, or play arpeggios off a finger style picking like Jim Croce did, or any number of wonderful guitarists that, may mean a lot to you. Or maybe you're a bass player and, you like Chris Squire from Yes, or whoever. Or maybe you just want to play a few simple songs. One of the most popular videos I had the acronym PASSED. It's to this day got several thousand views, which blew me away. And it just meant it was an acronym, a mnemonic. Past, play a simple song every day. PASSED. Play a simple song every day. And I even told everybody it could be a 2-chord song, like one of the America songs or something like that. All through your guitar journey, you need to understand and ask. And I've re-asked myself many times over 52 years of playing, what do I want to do next? Well, I consider my guitar journey a blessing from God. To me, it's just a wonderful thing to be able to connect with my guitar, to connect with other people, to watch my granddaughter light up at learning to play a song. That's so. I hope that I help in your struggles to get past some of that. We're going to do this again. I realize this was a throw together live. I'm going to try to do a Sunday live. My wife and I go to church early in the morning. I try to keep the afternoon, early evening free. Like I said at the start of this, for anybody who's in here, at 9 o'clock, I'm like Cinderella. I turn into a pumpkin. I go to bed because I get up early. So anyway, information overload can be conquered by having a structured program. I encourage you, go get a kid's beginner guitar book. Even if, I'm 52 years old. I bought a bunch of them for my granddaughters and grandson to teach them. I taught all three of my sons. I used fret-light guitars, which I've highlighted that. I still learned something even from a beginner kid guitar book. That's something you can do. You've passed. You've played a simple song every day. You'll find those books will have "This Land Is Your Land," "Happy Birthday," "My Country 'Tis of Thee," "Take Me Home Country Roads," "A Horse With No Name." They have simple songs you can play. I'm never going to be ashamed, ever. I don't care who likes the kind of guitar I play. I haven't played live since I was back in a folk and a gospel group. It wouldn't bother me to take a guitar with notes on it. I don't care who laughs at me. I realize you might. I don't care. I'm learning. I'm enjoying. I'm having fun with the guitar. It's a journey. It's a blessing. So, structured program if you're a beginner. When to practice? Well, that's a tough one. It depends on your schedule, of course. Like I said a minute ago, I do not recommend at the beginning practice. Now, let's distinguish between practice and fun. When I pick up a guitar, when I pick up a small guitar, this is a noodling guitar. This is a small scale guitar. When I'm sitting around on the couch, that's not practice. That's having fun. I'm just noodling. I'm improvising. I'm learning scales. I'm doing things. Practice to me is, okay, I'm going to play my C major scale and I'm going to walk it down, walk it back. I'm going to find that scale on other parts of the guitar. Then I'm going to jump over here to the A minor pentatonic. And then I might turn around and turn it into the blues. Throw the blues in there with it. By throwing that extra note, because the penta is what? 5 notes. And then I'm going to walk the full 12 notes of the harmonic out of the A minor. That's practice. I'm going to practice doing bar chords, F, G, A, B, C, walk it back and end with an E. I'm going to do chord progressions where I tie the root notes together. That's practice, because I've sat down before I started and I knew what I was going to do. For 15 minutes, I'm going to practice a C, a minor, F, G7 chord progression. Why? Because I learned the circle of fifths, and I know that if I'm in the key of C, the major chords are going to be F and G. There's going to be an A minor. There's most likely going to be a G7. How did I find that information out? Because I know the C scale. Wait a minute, that's information overload, Dave. Yeah, it is. But that's okay. That's practice. Everybody's at a different place in practice. Many of us start out with learning the chords. So find 5, to 15 minutes a day, every other day when you can practice or when you can. Sometimes you can practice while your spouse, your mate, or someone else is watching TV or this. You just, you can strum and practice a chord. Now, I try to tell you to practice a chord and to get it to ring out correctly. But you know what? You can make your chords and muffle. I'm just holding my palm. You can do chord practice, and you may think, yeah, but then I don't know if I'm messing up. Yeah, but you're still making your shapes. You're still learning that, from this A minor shape, I can hold this first finger still, root it, and then I can lift up and make other shapes. You can practice quietly. I even have videos about silent guitars and stereos and headphones. There's ways to practice. That's another reason to find a low-cost, small guitar, a noodling guitar. So I realize practice is hard. Maybe involve your child with you. Hey, watch me make these chords and let me know if they sound okay. Or get your wife or your husband involved, or your pastor or your next door neighbor. Only you can figure out practice. I strongly urge that you make practice something that gets into your calendar. If you have a calendar, remember there's one on most phones. They still make those printed ones that hang on the wall. You can still put a sticky note on the door, practice tonight, 7 p.m. Come up with some practice. And don't be so darn rigid about it. Don't be so darn lax about it either. But, if something comes up and you don't get to practice, we'll make up for it the next day. It's just like, getting knocked off a bicycle. Get back up. All right, you got no one to play with. Are you sure? Have you done a local Google search? Have you checked your church? Have you done local guitar instruction? Have you went to, if you're fortunate enough and there is a guitar center or a local music shop in your town, have you gone in and asked more than one person in the store, hey, is there anybody that plays? Is there a blues society in your town? Is there a jazz guitar society in your town? We have the Magic City Blues Society in the Birmingham, Alabama metro area. And we have events where we encourage newbies to come and to get on stage, kind of like an open mic night and things like that. And we'll help you. Now, sure, you can be intimidated and scared, but I'm telling you, if you want to play with others, pick your guitar up, go to the park. You'd be amazed at a guitarist that might be walking on a walking track and they hear you play and go, hey, man, how long have you been playing? Well, actually, I just started. I wish I had somebody to play with. Well, come back next Friday. I'll be here. You got to put some effort into it. Guitar, I'm not here to philosophize to you. I'm trying to help people that are beginning guitarists to succeed in their journey. It takes effort. It does. There ain't no secret chord. There ain't no, it's effort. It's effort, but it can be a rewarding effort the whole way. Even the struggles can be rewarding. So no one to play with, start searching for somebody to play with within good, safe reason. Don't do anything that's, not prudent. I mean, I shouldn't even have to say that. It's terrible that, we are. Your guitar. Well, I'm going to tell you something. I just did a video. I encourage you to go look at it. It's never been a better time to buy a beginner guitar. If you've already been here, you know my story. Started playing at 11, got a guitar from a Western Auto that was so hard to play. It was terrible. But I was grateful to my mother for buying it. It was a cheap guitar. I cut grass for 3 summers when I was 13 years old. I bought an Epiphone. It was like an F45. I don't know. It was close to a couple $100 Epiphone. That was a lot of money to a 13-year-old in 1973. And I was proud of it. It was my guitar. I earned it. But this is a $199 Epiphone Pro 100. There's even a Fender Squier electric guitar on Amazon, a Squier debut, that's a decent. No, it doesn't give you all the extra bangs and whistle for $119. They have a Fender Alternative Dreadnought for $119. It's an acoustic electric. This is a Pro 100 that I got at Musician's Friend for the stupid deal of the day. They run every morning, and I got it for $119. Now, it didn't come with a case, but it was well padded, well stocked, came with a humidifier, some picks. They've set this up. The big players in the industry, Fender, Epiphone, Squier, some of the name brands are getting into the beginner guitar market, and they are backing the guitars. Now, you're not going to get the extra bells and whistle, but this is a really good sounding the action on this guitar, the distance from the fretboard to the string is very low, meaning that makes it easy to play. They put ultra light gauge strings on here. The guitar is made of solid woods. It's got a beautiful finish. It's $199. Man, that would have been, if I could have got a guitar when I was 13 years old for $199, that would have been like being able back then to get a guitar for $25. I mean, that it is a great time. Now, if you don't have $199, I get it. I promise you, I get it. That's why we do, people have heard me say, and I mean this, I'm new to this. I'm new to this live. I've got over 1,000 subscribers. I monetized the channel just recently. My wife, several people in my private guitar group on Facebook that know that we try to give guitar to kids are like, you're not taking away from anybody. Why not monetize this? It's not like you're not taking away. You're trying to add value. But I made it very clear. If this ever got busy enough that we had a bunch of questions coming in, I even put it in this description. I'm not going to allow people to buy a question. Now, that appeals to a lot of people. It doesn't appeal to me. If you send a thanks to me, $2, if you buy one of our low cost, less than $5 monthly memberships that we're still trying to, even though we laid out the way YouTube asked us to, what you get extra, but we try not to take away from others. You may get something before others do. You get $5 to this channel, we're going to put it back into buying a course to tell you about, buying one of these stupid deal of the day guitars for $119 so we can try to get it in the hands of somebody. Now, granted, I'm not on a national level, but the point I'm trying to make is we're not going to allow people to buy a question. The things we have, I don't even know where it is, that you can hit thanks. That is, people ask what they could do to support the channel. Well, okay, the first thing you can do is subscribe, and that means a lot to us. But it is never a better time to get a beginner guitar. The prices are unbelievably low. I have guitar videos on that. So your guitar may be frustrating you very badly. And so Go to if you're fortunate enough to have a guitar center, a music store in your town, go play some different guitars. That darn F chord, well, maybe you don't need to play the F chord for a while. Maybe you need to, have you learned all the open chords? Can you make a C chord, a D, an E? Skip the F for a minute. Can you make a G? Can you make an A? Can you make an A, not just the bunched up three fingers? Can you split it and make it like a D7? Can you do other things? Your beginning guitar journey can be frustrating, and it is frustrating because it's new, but there are resources here to help you. I'm going to try to do some more of these to where the word gets out we're doing this, and beginner guitarists can come in here and ask questions. um uh, I don't have a helper right now. Why would I have a helper? I mean, the biggest live I've done, I think, had 15 people in it. So this is going to have to grow, but we want your guitar journey to be blessed. We want to be available for you to answer your questions. I do beginner to intermediate guitar help. And that's subjective. Some people are like, what does it mean to be an intermediate? They may not even know what that means. So, but I'm trying to help people get past their frustrations and struggles. I want to thank y'all for being here. I'm going to end this. I'll try to make this regular. It means a lot when people come in here, when I see the numbers start to climb. I'm always try to have a topic based live. And hey, I hope your guitar journey is blessed, and most of all, happy picking.